Talk about relationship goals. We weathered their storm together in partnership because they knew from day one that our team was working with them. We demonstrated this in the two ways that were most relevant to their team: by always conforming to what was best for their employees and what was best for their budget. Commission checks are real easy to cash in the good times. This is where you earn your keep. Whether you're here as a colleague in consultation, exploring advising as a vocation, or considering a partnership in employee benefits with my team, I hope you find value in these thoughts. Apply this truth to both your personal and professional relationships. Make it as clear as you can to all you meet you're on their side, working with them and not against them. In other words, put the needs of others before your own and surround yourself with folks that do the same. I'm Shane Wingo, and you're listening to the Working With Them podcast. Well, thanks again for joining me here for the podcast. Again, here in season 1, what we're doing is we're creating an audio version of my new book, Working With Them. If you haven't yet, I always recommend go back to episode 1. There we have an intro for how we got here with the book, and then we also have a brief summary on each chapter that really lays a bit of a foundation for all that we're covering through this podcast. And today we'll be reviewing chapter 7, Working With Them in the Tough Times. And the next couple of episodes are going to be some pretty heavy ones. It's kind of the downturn of the relationship here and how we deal with that. What we'll talk about today is how do we weather those tough times and how do we keep that partnership through the tough times. And remember, this is not just a book about advising, consulting, about the sales process. It truly is a book about creating partnerships and building relationships. So as we go through today, think about how you approach and speak to those around you during the tough times in your life. What have you been doing throughout your relationship to capitalize on those good times so you've built a firm foundation to be able to face these current trials together? A little too deep. I know some of these intros get a little bit deeper than we need to, so let's go ahead and get into working with them in the tough times. Second only to prospecting, navigating difficulties with a current client can be most prominent opportunity to differentiate yourself as a true consultant and not simply a salesperson. Any advisor worth their salt can build a compelling case for creating a partnership. It is a true consultant that lays the groundwork throughout the partnership to be able to jointly navigate the troubles that will inevitably arise. You can partner with a client for decades, or you can be that blip that only remains until a storm washes you away. This takes grit. Be the undisputed leader of your team, all the more in times of adversity. While each member of your team plays a critical role with specific duties to complete, this is a pivotal time to make your involvement, concern, and experience clear to your clients. When entering tumultuous times, I hope you followed the tenets of the previous episode, section, chapter by documenting your successes and innovations. Then, when trouble begins to brew, you're able to meet it head on. Live by and reintroduce those previously compiled documents that detail all your team has done to provide and prepare for this situation. Be the first and the loudest voice sharing how you will address and soldier through what lies ahead together. You are not only the leader of your team, you are the leader of the joint team that includes your client. Every member is looking to you for guidance and solutions. So now is the time to embody all you've promised from the beginning of your partnership. Do not shrink. Do not pass responsibility around the conference table. Be their collective leader. Should solutions previously discussed but not implemented now be set in motion? What is a new and inventive solution in your marketplace that can add value to offset this trial? Continue to be the voice of innovation. Prove that you are not a passive bystander in this partnership. You must be the proactive consultant advocate you've promoted yourself to be all along. And if you are in these trying times as a result of clashing personalities or missed deadlines by either side of the partnership, deal with the issues directly and professionally. Whether you like it or not, you are the appointed leader by all parties involved. Now is the time to unify both sides and face this adversity jointly to navigate to the other side with an intact relationship. Commission checks are real easy to cash in the good times. This is where you earn your keep. By taking ownership of the issue at hand and not passing responsibility to other members of your team or the client, you're continuing to show that you are on their side. This does not mean you're in it alone. You are not skilled enough to handle every aspect of resolving the situation single-handedly, but you do have the skills to support each member of your team and your client's team through this situation. Now, this brings us to this episode's story time. One of my longest standing client partnerships has always been a bit tumultuous. Even though our team has shined in both service and renewals of their benefit plan structure, there's always been a bit of contention with the director of HR. It's a situation I can best summarize by stating the director of HR enjoys manufacturing problems only he can solve, so he can consistently be the saving grace of the organization. So for the 5 years we've partnered together, I have continually been on the offensive, documenting the worth and value our team brings to this partnership. If not for the support and appreciation of the balance of the C-suite, it's probably a partnership I would have cordially removed myself from a long time ago. So when we were faced with that 2 or 3 times in a decade kind of year comprised of multiple high claimants and a large renewal, the ire of Mr. HR was on full display. But we were able to leverage multiple partnerships to bring a palatable renewal to the table. And we also went to the tape and replayed our history of stellar performance because we had been diligent as a team in documenting our successes over the years. The renewal in year 4 came in over 20% when historically we were able to contain their renewal to low single digits. We negotiated it down to just over 10% with little to no plan design changes. More importantly, I pulled all the old data. In comparison to trend of their renewal prior to our partnership and industry average renewals over the course of our time together, I was able to document their average annual renewal without our team, and it would have been just shy of 8.5%. Each year, 8.5%. Their actual annual renewal with our team, including that most recent large renewal, was under 4%. Over the now 5-year time span that we've partnered together, we've saved this organization more than 22% on their total medical spend, basically providing 1 year of free coverage out of our 5 years together. Our partnership cut their average annual renewal by more than 50% a year for 4 years running in comparison to a life without our team. In addition, we began our partnership with a unique commitment addressing their spend directly. We work for this client from a service agreement instead of a standard percentage of premium for commission. Comparing those figures also showed the commission paid for our service was substantially below standard industry commissions. And they've paid substantially less than standard every year for 5 years running. Talk about relationship goals. We weathered their storm together in partnership because they knew from day one that our team was working with them. We demonstrated this in the 2 ways that were most relevant to their team, by always conforming to what was best for their employees and what was best for their budget. So as we close out this episode, we'll reiterate this underlying philosophy like we do on each episode. And we'll do that by saying, Make it as clear as you can to all you meet that in the tough times, you remain on their side, working with them and not against them. Hope you found value in these thoughts. Now, there's going to be 10 or 12 episodes here in season 1 as we build this audiobook version of Working with Them. In season 2, that's when we'll have the guests start to join us. So subscribe to the podcast and you'll be notified every time a new episode drops where we review another chapter. Now, the book itself, it's live on Amazon, kind of. It's live on Amazon for a pre-order. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to get you right there to all the places where you can find this podcast, but also where you can pre-order that book. It's going to ship on February 14th. So get your pre-orders in now so you can be one of the first to receive and read it. Of course, if you have any questions for me at all, whether they be about employee benefits, which I do daily, or whether it be about the thoughts that we talk about here on the podcast and are expressed in the book, reach out to me. There's going to be another link in the show notes that says Dot Cards. It has all of my direct contact information. It has my cell number, my email address, all my social media spots. So get in touch with me and let's connect if you have any questions. With that, thanks again for joining me, and do all you can today to make it clear you're working with those around you.